have both.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Live in Sacramento, Sacramento, there I go.
One of The Rock's best songs that he's ever sang of all time. If you missed the front end of that, leaving Sacramento.
Live in Sacramento, Sacramento, there I go.
You know, I watched a interview with The Rock last night. It was on one of the morning shows on Sundays, but it was like the extended cut of it. And he's talking about the new role that he's playing in this movie that's coming out. I believe it's about an MMA fighter that's struggled through some addiction issues in life. And before MMA, I think it was MMA, not 100% sure because I had it on in the background. And The Rock dived into getting comfortable being uncomfortable, stepping out of those roles that everybody knows he can knock out of the park. And one of the most dramatic things was the body transformation of this guy. Did you see how much weight The Rock lost for this movie? So anyways, good morning. Welcome to the King's Court. Hope everybody's doing well
Order
today.
in the court.
Be with you for about an hour here. Hope you had a chance to catch the Spud Webb interview yesterday. That was very, very interesting. I usually have my notebook, which I left over there. There were a couple things that really stood out to me. First off, the call to Spud did not go as I said it was going to go. I did not say Spud. It's Ryan, Grant's producer. Just want to let you know I'm not responsible for anything that happens in this segment. I didn't do any of that. Spud was just like, hey, I need 3 minutes. All right, Spud, you got it. But he took it in good fun, cleared up that Tim Brown and him never talked about the Cowboys. So go check that out. He had a lot of good insight about the NBA today. I thought that was very interesting. One of the things that he said was he does not like seeing the wasted talent that's on the floor at times. And I get that. I totally get that. Guys that are so much more talented than they show by just settling for a 3-point shot. So check it out. We'll be back on the air 3 o'clock today. Grant back here on If You Don't Like That, 7 o'clock, 3 to 6, Fox Sports Radio Sacramento, 104.7. Hopefully you have been able to drop by for a little bit. Lob us some calls on the show. Would love to hear from you. If you want to call in today, you can do that as well. The QR code is on the screen. You might be asking, Ryno, why are you playing?
Live in Sacramento, Sacramento, there I go.
We are a disc golf shot away from Media Day. And all of the sudden, the Jonathan Kuminga talks have heated up. Per Sam Amick, you're seeing numerous sources reporting that the Kings and the Warriors maybe have re-engaged in talks to bring Jonathan Kuminga to Sacramento in exchange for Malik Monk and a 2030 first-round pick. We've had how long to kick this around? I think we talked about Kuminga yesterday a little bit here on this forum. We've kicked this around now for a good 3 or 4 months. There's a few things that we know about the Sacramento Kings, and there's a few things that we don't know. And then there's the things that are always going to be for the Sacramento Kings that hang over that. Some of those always, those forever things that are going to be with the Kings, just like most NBA small franchises, is this: you're only going to get a star if you draft one or you take a risk on somebody. And by the way, I'm not calling Kuminga a star, but that's what it takes for a small market team to make their way to the top of the NBA. Look at any of the small market teams that have had success in recent future, including Oklahoma City. They've drafted well, and what did they do? They traded for SGA. Yeah, for some of you, you might not realize SGA was on the Clippers before OKC. They got the rocket strapped to their backside and off to the moon they went. How about the Indiana Pacers? Well, the Kings drafted Tyrese Halliburton, but the Pacers traded for Tyrese Halliburton. Where do the Pacers go? Off to the moon. So with those things in mind, what are your thoughts on this? Because the Kings, we don't know about Nick Clifford. Could he be that guy? Maybe. Could Max be that guy? Maybe. They haven't played a game in the NBA. We don't know. Jonathan Kuminga, everybody seems to think he has a lot of upside, but he's also the popular kid on the street right now. He's been the popular kid on the street all this offseason because really there hasn't been a ton of big moves this offseason. There hasn't. Kevin Durant, the biggest move? Not a lot of big names available. So is Kuminga really got that much upside? Or is he just the best guy available in this group? According to the NBA. Could he be a guy? Which Sacramento has done this before. You know you have to give something up to get something in return. And most times when the Kings have taken a step forward, the Kings have had to get, and this fan base has had to get, comfortable being uncomfortable, meaning giving up players that we love, giving up players that we can't. For me, thinking about Malik Monk, I cannot imagine the energy that this team will have, both on and off the floor, without Malik Monk in that locker room. Now, that's just because I have this team in my mind. And all I have to go by is how the Kings have looked when Malik Monk isn't available, when he's injured. It was rough. Look at the play-in game, right? But I also have to realize what we have right now does not work. You have a backlog of guards. So if you are looking to reset this thing, that means you've got to look at it from all angles. And the most important angle is this year figuring out who is part of the solution and who is part of the problem. We all have our opinions on different players on this team that should start, that shouldn't start, that should get more minutes, should get less minutes. But who are the players that, as you rebuild, as this thing hopefully ramps up, who are the players that fit in to that puzzle? You want that to become clear. But back to Monk. Traditionally, the Kings have had to give up guys to get a guy. Most recently, Halliburton for Sabonis. What about Jason Williams for Mike Bibby? Think about all these different moves. Richmond. And what happens in return? It's kind of worked out. Now, the Jason Williams trade, the Kings were, they were in a much better spot then than the Kings are now when they pulled the trigger on that trade. But what I'm saying is, if you look at this objectively, we know this unit doesn't work. Or at least it hasn't consistently worked. Can anybody argue against me there? That this has not consistently worked over the last 3 years? And I get we've had some pieces move here and there. It hasn't consistently worked. So what do? You know, we're focusing all our attention on how heavy this team is at the guard position and not putting a lot of attention on how thin they possibly are on the front line. Malik Monk, is he part of the future? I certainly don't think Malik's part of the problem. I think he could be part of the solution. Is he one of those players that has to be in the formula of the solution? I don't know. That's where I'm kind of in the middle. So where do you all come out on this? Given what I just laid out about small market teams and the ways that they improve, it's the draft and it is taking calculated risks and hoping that those pay off. Is Kuminga a calculated risk? Has this offseason been so slow that Kuminga's been overhyped? Here's your other issue. Was it Doug Christie? I mean this because there's been numerous reports throughout this time period, this offseason, where the Kings have been linked to Kuminga. But when Kuminga met with them on Zoom, was it Doug Christie that allegedly promised Kuminga a starting position? So let's say Malik Monk does go to the Warriors. The Warriors finally say, you know what? You know what? The owner, all right, coach, you don't want Kuminga. It's all good. And by the way, I think Monk's a good fit in Golden State too. But let's say they do that. Kuminga is now promised a starting position. Who's coming out of the starting lineup? Do you hold your word? Is that even true, that reporting? Does Doug Christie even know that was promised to Jonathan Kuminga? You know, it opens up another can of worms. So we'll talk more about that. Cal Raleigh, what can you say about this guy's season? 59-60 last night, playing catcher, basically the quarterback of the baseball team. Not only is the guy hitting home runs at a historic rate for catchers, he's playing almost every single game, and he is calling excellent games from behind the plate, in addition to hitting the straps, the stitches out of the baseball. Good morning. Haunted Horse, first one in. What is this? It's the King's Court. It's the morning shoot around, buddy. First sip of coffee. It's hot. It's good. When the coffee cools down, that's when the show ends. That just so everybody knows. When it gets below the temperature that I like drinking my coffee at, show's over. Yeah, we do this Monday. Well, we're going to do it as much as we can. But hopefully Monday through Friday. If I am not at the facility doing King stuff, then I'm going to try to be here with all of you. What's up, Patrick? Good morning. I saw yesterday you got a couple days off. Good for you, buddy. Oh no, it's the haunted tag. ESPN in their top 100 through 50 players ranked Kuminga at 83. Grant and I talked about the rankings yesterday on Fox Sports Radio. You know, DeMar DeRozan, and we talked about his rating. We talked about Zach LaVine. DeMar was 82, LaVine 70, but DeMar dropped 35 spots from the season before. That's nuts. 35 spots. Grant pointed that out, and he's right. It's also a travesty. When we did, I think it was our first King's Court live after the radio show started, or in that period where we were the week before the radio show, we talked about the athletic list that came out, and it had the top 40 forwards in the NBA. And I had a fit because Keegan Murray was not part of the top 40. Grant pointed out that Keegan Murray was not part of the top 100. That's a problem to me. We talked about it extensively yesterday. De'Aaron Fox at 35, saw that. Sabonis at 34. We talked about that yesterday on the radio show as well. The top 10 have dropped. We can go over those if you want. I'm not big into these things, but you know, it is what it is. It's NBA fodder. It is something to look at as we really tick into one of the better times in sports. Seahawks take on the Cardinals tonight in Arizona, Thursday night matchup. San Francisco 49er fan, question for you. Would you rather roll? And I know that both guys, last time I checked, were questionable, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy. Would you rather roll with Mac Jones for one more week? You have 2 games in 10 days. Do you not want to rush Purdy back? You remember last year how, I'm not going to say Green Bay rushed him back. I think it was a little bit more of Jordan Love. Jordan Love came back a little bit too early from that knee injury. Where do you stand on that? Would you like to see Mac Jones one more week? Kyle Shanahan certainly trusts him. What did he have? 38 or 39 pass attempts in his first start. And last week, I believe he had 42 pass attempts. So Shanahan trusts him. The offense really has not changed a ton. I mean, Ricky Pearsall has kind of been the surprise of the season for me right now for the 49ers. He's third in receiving in the NFL right now. It's pretty good. Pretty good if you are Ricky Pearsall. Now, he did not practice yesterday. Didn't seem like it was going to be a big deal, or at least he played it down in the locker room. So where are you at on the Niners and Mac Jones versus Brock Purdy? Simply because of health. Simply because of health. Fire Monty, blame the GM, or you fire the coach. Yes, Kuminga is a calculated risk. He is. I know. Look, Malik knows this. I love Malik. Malik is such a great person on and off the court. He's won the King's Community Award 2 years in a row. He truly wants to be in Sacramento. He loves this city. He loves the golf in this city too. I preface what I'm going to say with that because I'm going to challenge you like I am challenging myself to realize we've got to relook at this thing. Just what I said at the top, we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So if I look at the current roster of guards, although Malik is near the top of guys I would not want to give up right now, because I'm thinking short term. I'm thinking this season. I'm not thinking long term. That's the problem. We're focused on the micro when we need to be taking the macro approach. We need to scroll out on Google Earth and take that 30,000 mile above the earth approach. When you take that approach, giving up Malik with this team, I mean, he's one of the only guys that you could trade on their own, I believe. It's fair compensation. It's a calculated risk. You know, it sucks. I don't want the Kings fan in me doesn't want to see Malik leave this team. But objectively, if I have to be completely objective and take all the other stuff out of it, we already know what this team is as it sits today. And don't tell me, oh, well, we only have a small sample size of Zach LaVine and now we have Dennis Schroeder. Yet those things will change a little bit. But we know pretty much within the ballpark, we know what that can be. Maybe not Dennis Schroeder as much, but Zach LaVine. Doesn't work. So why not? The only way the Kings are going to get better is taking calculated risks. And if you have a guy in Jonathan Kuminga that wants to be in Sacramento, if you read many of the reports, I think you got to do it. This clearly is not a Kings. This isn't something that's waiting on the Kings. The Kings have their offer there. The Kings' offer has been there. This is the Warriors. We'll see. The Warriors, and Grant made a good point last night on the radio. I asked him, are you concerned they only got 9 guys under contract? And he said, not really. You only play 9 in the NBA usually anyways. But, yeah, look, the Warriors got to do something. I do know that. The issue for the Warriors on Monk is the player option. The Warriors would rather it be a team option so they can move on if they want to. I don't think maybe that is. I don't think the option's going to make a difference. Malik will play to where I think he'll be loyal. Look, that's the other thing that we're not hitting. These guys are going to be an hour and 15 minutes away from each other, playing an hour and 15 away, seeing each other 4 times a year. Malik, he's still got some pretty good golf out there. Granted, a little bit more expensive. He'll still be able to play a decent amount. But this will be an intimate. If this trade happens, and that's the other dynamic too. That's the big thing. You are trading within your division. You're trading with probably the short list of rivals that the Kings have right now. Interesting. Looks like Kuminga is back on the table. Oh, welcome to the party, Dennis. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a minute. Good morning, Flores. All right, coffee check. Is the show over yet? Nope. Coffee temperature is still good. Oh, it's so good. Wow. Monday through Friday. That's impressive. Yeah, some days I might do it from Fox, depending on my schedule. Let's see. Also, the Warriors have an issue with the protections on the first round draft pick. I don't, excuse me. I don't think the Kings, if I'm the Kings, I'm taking the protections off of that. 4 years down the road, you should be in the playoffs. You really should, if you do things the right way. We have Dennis, Zach, Murray, Sabonis, and DeMar. Dennis, Kuminga was promised. We've already hit that. Warriors are trying to find another team to reroute Monk and get something more that fits there. Malik Monk fits really well there. Dennis, the league is helping us to keep Keegan Murray's contract low. Peter, I didn't want to say it yesterday. I did not want to say it on the airways, but yes. Yeah. And well, I'll tell you this, the executives, the coaches, they all know who Keegan Murray is. They do. They know him very well. In fact, he's one of the few Kings that will commonly come up in the pregame press conferences where the coaches will be talking about, the game plans against the Kings, attacking certain things. A lot of times Sabonis would come up, Fox would come up, and Keegan Murray would come up a lot because of what he does defensively. Not putting up bang, bang, gang. Brock Purdy would have played last week if it was a playoff game per reports. That's what I'm saying, dude. Like, I get it. Do you want to rush him back? Is Brock officially back? Okay, but re-injured. Yeah, he aggravated, I believe it was a PCL. He's questionable, just like Brock Purdy is. Mac Jones, yes, without Kittle and Purdy turf toe, more immobile. Want Jones again, weird throw, and afford a Mac Jones start. Possible loss. Yeah, I'm with you. Kuminga is a starter and Monk is a borderline starter, 6-man. Yeah, but okay. I don't draw a distinction between players who are starters and not starters. My distinction is who's on the floor at the end of the game. And many times it's Malik Monk that's on the floor at the end of the game. Now, I am also, because I've been around enough, that group, I know, again, what he brings to. We had Doug McDermott, or Grant had Doug McDermott on earlier this week. And Doug was talking about roles. And I think roles, that's the most, if I'm Doug Christie this training camp, that is what I am doing on day 1 of training camp. I am lining every single person up at the half court line. I'm lining everyone up and I am going man by man and telling them what their roles are, what Doug Christie sees as their role on this team. That's really important. I hope he does that. But back to the thing about Monk not being a starter and being a 6th man, what he brings to that locker room, and sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse, he's kind of the guy, he's the conduit for the players that don't want to speak up to the coaches. He will say what the guys are thinking. And sometimes he will say things that piss the coaches off. He did it on day 6 of training camp last year after the second, was it day 6? I forget what day it was. It was the practice after the second preseason game where, and I don't think Malik played in the first one, but the Kings had shot the 3 ball very poorly through 2 preseason games. And Malik said, I think the guys are tired. And that did not exactly hit Mike Brown the right way. And for those that don't know, Mike took a lot of flack his first year in Sacramento. Some people thought he was overworking the team. And so he kind of backed off it the next year, and they had a couple of double days this past season. So that was a little bit of, I think, a sensitive spot and something that probably should have been kept in-house. Now, conversely, Mike Brown, he overshared with the media last year as well. Way too much, beginning in training camp. Talking about, well, we're a day and a half away from the opener, and I'm not comfortable with my rotation. It's going to take me a while to figure out my rotation. And then 24 hours before the first game, you find out Kevin Huerter's cleared. Kevin Huerter's going to start. Last year just started off completely on the wrong foot. I expect a different energy this year. I really do. No, you're not, dude. You're not adding Westbrook. You're not. Kings need to start the rebuild. Yeah, I'm with you. I am with you. I think you really do. You do need to, if that deal's on the table and the Warriors are agreeable and they're ready to put pen to paper, It's the only way you can start taking a step towards something different. You have to. We have to acknowledge this does not work. Unless we want to be mediocre. If you want to be hanging around the 10 seed, 500, then hang on to the guys that are good in the micro, but probably aren't part of the macro picture. And I mean that with all due respect to Malik Monk. There's multiple players. If I'm picking and pulling for what I see based off of what Scott Perry has said, based on how Doug Christie likes to run a team, from what we saw last year, if I'm picking and pulling from what's on the roster right now, there's numerous guys that I'm pulling over to the other side before Malik Monk. And I mean that with all due respect. I'm pulling Keegan Murray over. I'm pulling Keon Ellis over. It's too early to make a determination on Neek. It's too early to make a determination on Max. But those two, I am for sure pulling over. They are part of the future solution and not part of the micro problem. So that's my take on it. We would trade DeRozan or Levine, but there are no takers. Yeah, exactly. There isn't. And, you know, the Kings have done their best to kind of fish around and see what could happen. And I was up here, by the way, I was up here hammering the whole Precious Achua thing yesterday. Like, why would the Kings not throw a non-guaranteed contract at Precious Achua? And maybe they did, and he didn't want to come here. But maybe this is why. That's a guy they didn't pursue. Maybe it is. I don't know. We'll have the opportunity to ask the questions on Monday at Media Day. So we will get that in. This is Keegan Jeer. All the pressure is on him, and the guys around him have to know it's his contract year. So hopefully see a little more aggressive Keegan. Guys are not going to do more for a teammate because it's their contract year. Everybody's business is their own business in the NBA. So like when guys hold out, that's their business. You get unless you're doing something detrimental to the team that is a massive distraction. Usually guys do not judge or get upset at a teammate who holds out for more money, because that's their business. So you're not going to have guys saying, "Oh, we're going to run more plays for you because it's your contract year." You're not. Let's see. That should be a challenge to Keegan for sure. Oh, look, Keegan's going to be fine. Love how Doug called him the 3-point champ on the team. So next year, DeRozan's contract is not guaranteed, so that is money to pay Keegan Murray. Look, you don't have to worry, y'all. Coffee check. You don't have to worry about the money part of it with Keegan Murray. You are allowed to go over. You can pay more for your own free agents, and it doesn't go against the cap. That overage does not go because you're re-signing your asset. So the money thing, it's not the biggest thing with the money is what's the number? What's he worth? I don't think anybody right now knows the answer to that question. I don't know that Keegan Murray's agent knows the answer to that question. And I would not be fully shocked if if Keegan Murray's agent is not paying super close attention to what happens with Jonathan Kuminga. Because you could certainly put those two in the same ballpark as comps. You can. The players have a responsibility to play hard and win, but this doesn't change unless ownership does. Yeah, I don't know what to say. It's three situations. We went over it earlier this week on the radio. Here's the three situations that happen. You have a general manager that doesn't give a you know what. You have a general manager. Let's hope this is the right one.
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.
You need one of those. You need a general manager that's one. What was those, Jerry?
Every team really needs what I call a shitbird.
You have a general manager that's like, screw it, Vivek, just piss off, Vivek. I'm doing this now. Can you do that? Probably not. So that option, not likely. Second option, you have a general manager that plays the game just as well as the owner and can get stuff done. Third, you have guys that end up overachieving and developing, and there is so much potential on the court, and this entire city is behind it. You're seeing the results to where you can't push back about what that person is doing with the team. You can't fight City Hall. You got to let them keep going forward and building upon it. Those are the three options. Or I guess the fourth, you're a puppet. And I want to be very clear. I don't think Scott Perry's a puppet. Now, I was very critical. And as I've thought about it, and this has nothing to do with me being credentialed, has nothing to do with that. But as I thought about the Scott Perry stuff and why I was critical early on, I was critical because of the circumstances that Scott got the job. That's what I was very critical of. And the question that Grant asked, and it's a fair one, and I would ask it to all of you, would you have taken the job under those circumstances? That was something I didn't consider in my head. Would you have taken the job? Yeah, I probably would have taken the job. Even if I didn't get to hire my own coach and it's a bad owner. So I was critical. And I was critical of the opening press conference. I thought it kind of came off disingenuous at times. But also, the owner was not there, was Scott Perry. Usually an owner is going to be there with the general manager that they just hired. So that makes it a little nuanced. The Doug Christie hiring and the press conference, I mean, there were moments, certainly Doug was letting Scott lead, but I guess it was fine. But where my dial changed on Scott Perry was night one of the NBA draft, when he had his press conference after moving up, basically turning what would have been 2 second-round picks into a first-round pick this year, in a year where you need players to play. You need rookies to come in and have an impact, to have a chance. He made that smart move. He understood and explained the reasoning behind taking Neek, and I completely got it. I completely agreed with it in terms of his body, how long he had been in college, his age. And I really liked where Scott's head was at. And what's he do day two? He drafts Max, another guy that is completely in line with everything that Scott laid out. And by all accounts, these are, go back and listen to the Doug McDermott interview. He had some really nice comments about how the rookies are conducting themselves and their approach. So, Scott's done a decent job so far. He has. You can point to losing Jake. You can point to Valanciunas. But I think Scott has done a decent job. And this could be a very big move. It really could. I mean, you're giving up, by the way, you're giving up a fan favorite. Is Malik Monk not not the most popular king? It's either him or Sabonis, right? So, anyways, we'll see. I do know, as I started the show, I stick to those same sentiments that, you know, you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And we have to realize this thing's not really working the way it is. So, Dorian, in my opinion, we already saw that in 22 and 23. Look what happened. The team had a lot of years of continued success, but Fox changed his style of play. The team didn't improve, and Brown got fired. Did you order your counterfeit Fox Sports Sacramento press vest from China? Who wears press vests, dude? This is not like the NFL, bro. No, I did not. You don't wear a vest, Dennis. Oh my gosh. Oh, Dennis, do your sources make you wear a vest? Is that what it is? Dennis, good dude. All good. Dennis, did you get your gift card yet? Just curious. I'm gonna get a credential press pass. I'm the cameraman, remember? Good luck, dude. Good luck. Not the definitely. Oh, you want to be my cameraman? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're proposing, Dennis? That you're my cameraman? Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Dennis is gonna pick up his gift card today. Yeah, it's $100 to Bennett's waiting for you, man. Good morning, BJ. Thanks for lobbing us a call last night on the show. On the clock. Good job. Yeah, I'm about to get off the clock here in a little bit. Yeah, so that's kind of what's going on. I would just challenge you to get comfortable being uncomfortable when it comes to some of the moves that may or may not happen. I almost said it last night, but if the trade does not happen, if I'm Doug Christie, I think defensively, and Spud Webb yesterday was talking about teams playing his own defense, and he didn't even know how to run his own defense in the NBA because it was never done during his time in the NBA. That was taboo. But the zone defense is going to be Doug Christie's best friend. And quite frankly, if you're going to have those guards and you're guys, I don't travel with like 90 bags and 7 cameras. Travel light. You know what my camera is? It's this. Technology these days. It's pretty good. It's not actually the camera. I learned this from Haunted Horse. So I'm going to give Haunted Horse gets all the credit here. It's about your I don't want to say this wrong. What is it called? Haunted Horse? Because if I say this wrong, I'll never live it down. I know what I want to call it. What are they called? Not a rig. A gimbal. That's what it is. It's a gimbal. Yes. My gimbal is everything. The gimbal has the microphone. The gimbal has the lighting. The gimbal follows people on its own. So that's all that needs to come with me. So sorry, Dennis. I don't have a man purse, yo. Although, you know what? I will admit I did go through a stage where I was wearing something that could be considered a man purse. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yep. How do you know that, dude? That's crazy. All right. We're gonna get out. I need to freshen my coffee up. Don't forget. And by the way, again, we're getting a ton of feedback and warranted about this podcast stuff with the show on Fox. I can't tell you how all over it Grant and I are with this. I think what I would tell you is look at. We understand what you need to do to put the podcast up, right? We put our own podcasts up. Grant's putting during the season 2-3 shows up a day. That's not the problem. Okay. We are going through a change at Fox. It just so happens to be the change is happening now for the platform that they are using across the board, every Fox station. And that has been the holdup. And so we are more or less coming up with solutions to bridge that gap. We are not going to wait for that gap to close and finally get that implemented. We're going to get something out imminently that will at least get you a place for the podcast until that new system is set up. So again, thank you for all the comments. We are all over it. So we understand that you can't listen always when it's live. In this day and age, it's pretty standard to be able to get that audio anytime that you want it. So we're on it. Again, rundown of the day. Well, Grant will be back here at 7:00 tonight. After Grant's show tonight, I am going to re-air the Spud Webb interview here on If You Don't Like That. So if you didn't have a chance to catch it live yesterday, that will run after Grant's show tonight. But before that, we are back on the radio. Fox Sports Sacramento, 3 p.m. Make sure you're there. We'll preview Thursday Night Football. We will continue talking Kings basketball, certainly with this new report that talks are heating up again between the Kings and the Warriors. Probably going to hit that. We'll talk top 10 players, your calls, much more. And I know Grant's got some guests lined up too. We've got Chris Landry today. Landry will be with us. Love Chris. And I forget who else will be there. But yeah, we've got a couple of guests. So join us, 3 p.m., Fox Sports Radio. Easiest way to listen, honestly, uninterrupted. Doesn't matter where you are. Download the Fox Sports app, Google Play, Apple Store. Download the KSAC, if you put that into either platform, KSAC, Fox Sports app, and listen anytime we are on the air right there through the app. Doesn't matter if you're halfway across the country, you can still get the show. So I hope everybody has a great day. If anything happens, maybe we will come to air in between now and then here on this platform, but probably not. It'll be 3 p.m. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Tell a friend that we are back to doing this for about an hour every morning. And looking forward to, you've got Thursday Night Football, you've got the Ryder Cup, you've got a great weekend of college football, you've got the NFL, you've got Media Day on Monday for the Kings, and 2 Monday Night Football games that night. So it's going to be an incredible next 5 days of sports. Enjoy it. We'll be all over it. Go Kings. Light the beam. Join Grant again tonight, 7 p.m. Appreciate all of you. Make it a good one. Can't wait to see you here in a little bit on Fox Sports Radio at 3 p.m. 104.7 FM. Court is dismissed.
Order in the court.